Okay.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. We need John Grant or who else do we need here? Oh, there's 4 of us. Duh, sorry. I just saw you, Peter. How are you?
All right, you.
Great. Okay, so meeting called to order at 4:01. And this is, you've all, I'm sure, received the material that we sent out the other day. And what got this started is that, and I'm sorry we hadn't done it sooner, but the project at 227 North Main Street spurred this along a little bit better. Instead of having a Mickey Mouse application, which really gave the commission no information, BART had started this application process back in 2019. So we sort of tightened up the application so that when someone wants to come on the line, we have more information like laterals or contractors or things like that. So, you know, if something should happen down the road, we know where we can turn to. So that being said, on top of everything else, I had Jeff Sankowitz put together a final copy of our regulations. And I know we have had this conversation before, but now we have a clean copy of the regulations, which once we get this approved, will go up on the website. So I would like to see if we could get a motion to approve the final copy of the Kent sewer regulations.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Sure.
Okay, in section 1.3 C and D,
Yeah.
about discharge permits. Each hauler must register each truck in the firm that operates and will be discharging, etc. And septic discharge permit, each source of septic must apply for a permit. Now, as I understand that, so of course each truck has to be registered, and then say the company goes to, say it's New Milford Septic, and they go to my septic system.
Right.
I need a permit. They need a permit for my septic system. Is that correct?
They don't need a permit for you. They have one permit.
They have one permit, but they have to. A permit
When
for
they-
each
when they go
user
to-
that is contained in the truck. In other words, they've got to have a permit for each source of supply or source of the septic, right? So they've got to know who is the individual or the property from which that septic is taken.
Well, that gets recorded in the logs.
Right,
When
yeah,
they-
okay.
Well, we just hope to improve that information a little bit by having specific information on a separate sheet that provides address, name, and what the nature of the waste is that's being dumped, just to
Right.
help protect the commission a little bit better than what it is right now.
Okay, so in other
And
words,
it
they will
also
know
gives
that
some
that truck
account-
contains septics from my property and Mr. X and Mr. Y. Is that right?
Correct, yep.
Okay, all right. The other question about that section is, do we know how much, how will we know how much they're actually discharging? I mean, do we know, no,
But it's still gonna have to be an estimate like they, good faith estimate like they do now.
Okay.
Without the addition of metering equipment at the septic discharge point, we won't be able to precisely say just how much they're discharging, but hopefully with the application form will help them be a little bit more honest about what volume is being reported.
So we're relying on their honesty, their integrity, that they're not depositing 50% more than they say they are.
Just like we are now, yep.
But it's like we're doing that now.
Yeah, right. Now, I'm just wondering, I mean, is that the way it's done in other towns? Is there a way of metering how much they deposit, or is that an unnecessary expense, or?
We
can rely
had
on
looked
it?
into getting one of those meters.
Yeah.
But they're like, I believe they run over $100,000.
Wow,
And we figured for what the meter cost for the discrepancy that might happen. I mean, it's not exact, but the trucks are only so large, so they,
Okay,
you know,
I got
and
it. So
you're
when they come
relying
in,
on
when they-
their honesty. Yes.
Yeah, I see. Okay. So, I mean, in other words, they don't usually come in half empty or say they're half empty and deposit a full load. Is that right? We can pretty much count on that being the case.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other question was I hope I'm not being too picky here, but since I'm still new to the commission, there's some things. I mean, I had a lot of questions, but I will only ask a few. The BOD, what exactly does that represent? I know I read the definition, but it didn't mean too much to me. And is that a significant issue?
But BOD is a measure of the strength of the waste. How much that water will take oxygen out of water that you add it to. It had, the biological act that's in the wastewater will demand oxygen from whatever water you add to help those biological organisms continue to live. So that's a real brief, simple explanation of what biological oxygen demand is.
Okay.
BOD.
All right. And one other question was 1.4.
Lost you a little bit, Jan. Can't hear you.
Trying to find it again on the regs, but oh yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I don't want to necessarily take up your time, but I just want to find, all right, 1.4 E1 H and I, 1.4 E H and I, and that's page 8. 1.4 E.1. And that has to do with, right, list of chemicals to be used on the premises. I mean, again, obviously, we're relying on the integrity of people not to discharge things that are damaging to the system or to health of the community. And I'm just, well, I guess, I'm sorry.
We had, remember, I don't know if you were on the board at that point, but you probably weren't, but 3 years ago, we had a problem with Kent School because all of a sudden there were higher levels of chemicals coming through the system. And it turns out that guys who were cleaning something were using some chemical, which sent our system into like chaos for, all of a sudden. And then when we traced it back, we found out what was happening. So we have a pretty reliable system of of finding if someone is discharging something that does not belong in the system, we can pretty much trace it back to where it's coming from because of the record keeping that Lyle does down there and things like that. So the chances of them putting bad stuff in are, I can't say it's not going to happen or couldn't happen,
right, yeah.
But it's not the norm. Let's put it that way.
Right.
We're very lucky, but
Yeah.
it's not something I think we have to worry about at the moment.
Right.
I mean, I think if we were in a bigger area or, something like that, we might have more things to consider. But for the smallness of the sewer plant, I think we operate it fairly, we're very careful and we pay attention to what chemicals are indeed used or not used and things like that.
Right.
So I don't think you really, yes, it's cause for concern, but I don't think if there's a problem right now.
Okay. Yeah, those were my only questions.
Okay.
Okay, right. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. So may I get a motion to approve the final copy of the Kent Sewer Commission regulations?
So move.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then number 3 on the agenda is the application for permit to discharge. So Bart, what he did was populated the application with our present rates and, and costs and things like that, so that when someone is going to apply, they can see right up front what things are going to cost, which has always been, tricky, because basically in the past, all they had to do was fill out basically their name and address, and that was the end of the information. So now we get to get more information from them, which, down the road will, just make it a lot more efficient. So on that application, may I get a motion to approve the application for permit to discharge?
So moved.
Second,
Yeah, second.
Ricky, will
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And then lastly is the permit to connect. We did the same thing where we populated the cost of our present costs into that, so that, people can, when they apply for this, they know what they're doing up front. So may I get an approval to, for the application to permit to connect?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then lastly, I wrote a letter to Paul Samansky, who is on the line, just to let you all know if you didn't know it. And it was basically, how are you? And it's just basically sort of reiterating, what he has to go through as a process to apply, the work that they have to do to bring the sewer line up to 227 North Main Street, and then sort of just a sequence of events. And so I guess I'm assuming you've all read it, and so may I get a motion to approve that letter to Paul Samansky regarding?
Sorry, but I have one
227
question again.
Yeah.
At the last meeting, I thought we said that his maximum product would be 7,000, but it lists 7,800 here. Is that a change?
He, in the initial application, he said he might be up at, it might go up to $7,800. I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, Paul. At one point, he said he might see if they can lower it, if they put in either a less house or this, that, and the other thing. But if it does go over the 7,800, then the application further states that he has to deal with different Connecticut DEP regulations to make it, the application, qualify, or whatever the word is.
It was my misunderstanding that his limit was 7,000, that they had to reduce it by one bedroom. Is that correct? Or I am incorrect?
No, he actually initially asked for 7,800.
Right.
And because once it goes to 7,800, then you have to deal with Connecticut DEP. He was thinking perhaps he might be able to bring it down to 7,000, in which case then he wouldn't have to deal with Connecticut DEP on this application.
And the reason he would have to go to DEP would be to get approval for us to accept the additional septage. Is that right?
Yes.
I see. Okay, so it would be in the hands of DEP.
And he would have a different set of he'd have to file another application with DEP for them to regulate it. That's all.
But wouldn't exceed our capacity then, that extra 800 per day?
No, we're
Oh, I
fine.
see.
No, we're
Okay.
fine.
All right,
At the
okay,
present moment, we're fine.
I see, okay.
Okay,
Got it.
so last request, letter, I may get a motion to approve the letter to Paul Samansky regarding 227 North Main Street.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Kathy. Second, all in favor? Ricky, I know you're there somewhere, waving your hand.
Gave me
Okay.
something.
All good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, guys. Have a great evening.
Hey,
Thank you for your time. Enjoy
and
the
we'll
sunshine.
get this information off to you this week, okay?
No problem. Have a
Thanks.
great week, guys.
You too.
Thanks again.
Thank you. And thank you, guys. Kathy, give Chip my love. Hope he's
Sure.
feeling better. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.